Hey there, everybody. Welcome. My name is Stacia Kennedy, and I am here to share with you some really important news about time management. Well, actually, we're going to be having a guest here in just a few minutes, so bear with me. Have you forgotten what day it is? I mean, I've been hearing that a lot during this whole quarantine thing here. I have been hearing a lot of people saying, man, what day is it? Have you been, somebody asked me the other day, have you been outside yet? I'm like, I can't even remember the last time I was outside. You guys, if you are with me, make sure to comment live in the comments below, hashtag live or hashtag replay if you're watching the replay. Today we have a special treat. So we want to make sure that I'm going to actually introduce him as he has some technical difficulties, to be honest. So hold on one second here. But Jeff Fallon, who you guys might have seen him if you watched last week's show, Mr. Positive. So if you haven't watched that episode, make sure to watch that episode. I will actually link it in the comments below as well too. So if you're here with me live, again, hashtag live, hashtag replay if you're watching the replay. And if you're over on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button because we are definitely going to share with you how to be more efficient with your time. And as a person, a professional in real estate, now we're having to pivot. So a lot of the things that I've been hearing and speaking with my colleagues and everything is how do we pivot? How do we become more efficient? How do we take the situation? Actually, I had a mastermind that I was in yesterday, and we were talking about a few people were worried. So again, comment below now if you know some emotions that you've been experiencing. Oh, here we go. Mr. Jeff Allen.
Hello. I'm so sorry. I'm logging in on my phone instead of my laptop.
Oh, good. At least we found a way. If there's a will, there's a way.
Exactly. Yeah, I apologize. I'm like, oh, we're doing time management, and one of the main speakers is running a little late due to technical difficulties. I'm like, oh, what the worst time? I got everything set up, 20, 30 minutes ago.
It's okay. I was just telling them, guys, if you hadn't watched last episode, to really get to know Jeffrey and Jeff, as he's here right now, I'll just do a quick intro. 20 plus years in the real estate industry, a real estate investor himself, also a real estate investing coach. And I was just saying, I've been saying a lot of, things have been going on. People have been saying, I myself have been like, what day is it? Have I been outside yet? Like, oh my gosh, quarantine time zone, twilight zone. So how can we be more productive and pivot in this situation?
Yeah, it's a great topic. I'll tell you, time management has been a hot topic for me as a coach and a trainer for over 10 years now, ever since I started, because everybody needs time management tips or techniques or the latest and greatest. What can I do? What works? What's going to stick? And I'll tell you, I've studied it, and because every single one of my clients, students, has benefited from some of the teachings that I've absorbed, whether it's some books or CDs or a seminar or workshop I went to. So I've collected the best of the best that I think have the stickability factor that I've personally used. And so that's what I wanted to share today to today's audience. I know a lot of people here are fellow real estate investors like myself, or CEOs, entrepreneurs. Awesome. I think it's very applicable for this audience to hear some of these techniques that again, I've learned and I've applied to my own schedule, because like you said, Stacia, man, I was the person that balanced 2 careers for over 15 years. And it took quite the focus and the discipline. So it's like, well, on top of that, you talk about, here, I'm trying, my computer I relaunched, so we'll see if that gets going. In balancing everything, not just your business. I balance the corporate job, a business, family life, friends, and all that kind of stuff, workouts. I mean, how do you get it all done? And it's challenging. So here we go. If you're ready to get into some of the quote unquote content, the 5 tips that you mentioned at the front of this that I'm ready. I'll probably rattle off 7, 8, or 9 if that's okay. And because we started just a minute or two late, I know you had a couple minutes of intro stuff there, which is awesome. Thank you very much. And the thing is, here we go. Number one is that we all have the same amount of time. That's something I learned, and it was just like a little aha moment when I became an entrepreneur. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, we all have the same amount of time. So what I do is really take a reverse engineer approach. Every single person I work with has the same amount of time. And we all know that time is the most precious commodity. I mean, everyone says time is money. And then I remember being challenged like, oh, really? Time is money. Well, money could always be made again or made more. Time is something you don't get back. So I treat it as probably the number one commodity out there. And I was really trained from a mindset standpoint is you need to treat your time and guard it. And also, speak to yourself like the owner / CEO that you are running your business. It is a business, not a hobby. So treat it accordingly. And I remember I'm saying that because I was a victim of that when I first started. I was like, oh, I'll just do it here and there. And, kind of a couple nights a week after work. I had to really take the serious step and become a professional. And that's what I want to speak to here is time management skills for the professionals out there. Because why? I compare it to being in the mindset like a lawyer or a doctor, okay, or a professional, if you will. And so what do they make per hour? $500, $600, $7,000 an hour for some lawyers, depending on where you're at, if not more. Okay, same with surgeons. And so they have the same amount of time as we do. So how do people earn 6 and 7 figures? Okay, well, downright, it takes focus, it takes commitment, it takes discipline, but it also takes systems and structure. And that's what I'm going to get into right now. The first tip, if you will, I'm going to give you is what I call reverse engineer your total hours per week. So here's a little math question for everybody. What is 24 times 7? What does that equate to? Well, the formula is 24 hours a day times 7 days a week. So the answer is 168. We all have 168 hours in the week. And so you break that down backwards. And I go through this exercise usually in call 1 or 2 with some of my clients. So I know how much time they have, where we're at. Some people only have 15 hours a week to run their business. Some have 20, 30, etc. So once I understand that dynamic, now we can put a game plan or an action plan, marketing plan together, etc. And so, yeah, what's the most that we all need every single day? Well, the doctors say 7, 8 hours of sleep is what we need. So multiply that by 7. So 7 times 7, just for round numbers, is 49. Let's add an hour. You got 8 hours, 1 day a week. Okay, we're at 50 hours. So you minus that off to 168. Now you're at 118. And now what's another big block that we do every week? Well, we got to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then the prep work, the shopping, the cleanup, all that. So I basically take an hour, 15 minutes for each of those, an hour per meal. And that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 7 days a week. That's 3 hours times 7 is 21. Minus that off the 118. And we didn't even start working yet. Okay, that's just sleep and eating. All right. So once you really break that down, and because of the time essence here, I don't have the time to go through that, but you can get where I'm going. Family time, workout time, travel time to your work, your 40 hours a week as far as your job, if you're working part-time, full-time. So you get it. Now I know the dynamic of where you're at. So let's say, for example, you got 25 hours a week, and I apologize for the shaky camera. I got to hold this out a little better. And, okay, so 25 hours a week. Let's reverse engineer that. What are we going to focus on most? I always encourage income producing activities first. What's going to bring you income first and foremost? Those activities out of your top 10 list per day should be in the top 5. Let's go ahead and tackle those right out the gate. Because a lot of things I teach and train is, well, how to get 8 out of your top 10 things done by 12 noon. So who would like to get 8 out of 10 things done by 12 noon, Monday through Friday? I know we're on virtual here, but I'm sure a lot of hands are being raised. Well, here's how. And that is what I call tip number 2, moving on from the 168 reverse engineer, is called massive concentrated time blocking. And what does that mean? What does that look like? Well, I use a technique to where in the first month, so it's picture a 90-day program, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Your first 30 days, we're going to time block your day, your work day, every 30 minutes. You're going to be doing a new task. So let's say you start or punch in at 8 a.m. 8 to 8:30, boom, emails, done. That's it. You'll come back to emails later at the end of the day. Mind you, I've got 4 email accounts that I balance and definitely maintain all the time. Okay, 3 professional, 1 personal. And so on top of that, I'm just looking for red flags, emergencies that first half hour. And then I'm moving on to probably a call, a meeting, etc. at 9 o'clock, or, again, every half hour. And I know some things might take 5 or 10 minutes and some things might take an hour. So at the grand scheme of things, it will balance out. But here's a way to get some rituals, some daily habits that you can really build like a muscle. And so give yourself some grace over 30, 60, 90 days. But the bottom line is this: you've got to time block. And the goal after the first 30 days is to go from 30 minutes to 20 minutes that next 30 days. And then after that, the 90-day part is going to be 15-minute increments. So you got 4 of those per hour. So I'm going to use the one in the middle for the example. 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes equals 1 hour. So that's 3 tasks in an hour.
Are you taking a break in between, like the Pomodoro effect?
Great. Yes, this is very similar to the Pomodoro. I love the Pomodoro. And yes, so I borrowed a little bit of some of those tips and techniques from Pomodoro because they are encouraging to use a timer, which is awesome. You got a little dial-up timer that we had when our parents would bake bread or cookies, on the kitchen countertop, something like that. Well, nowadays we've got the cell phone. So you could use the cell phone for your timer. But I say that with a little bit of because that cell phone usually has a lot of bells and whistles that are going off. And so if you turn off your notifications, no problem on using your phone for a timer. If not, then use something else. Okay, bottom line, because when I'm in one of my tasks, my 20-minute time block, my phone is turned down so I don't see it. And by the way, all my notifications are turned off. So I am very present when I am on a task. If it happens to be, in my pocket or flipped upside, whatever, right side up, I don't want to be distracted. And so, yes, you do take a break after 1 hour. You could take, your 5-10 minute break, go outside, have a banana, water break, bathroom break, that type of thing. Yeah, refuel with something healthy, right? Because you're going to go right back into the next hour for 20, 20, 20. And then take a break, go look after your little kid if you have children, that type of thing. But here's the key. Here's the big key on that. And it is to allow 0 interruptions in that 15, 20, or 30-minute time block. The big myth out there is that we're all great multitaskers. Well, I will give a little kudos to a lot of the moms out there and maybe some single dads that do have to balance when you've got a little one, let's say, 6 years old or younger. There is some multitasking skills that get developed. There's no question. But in business, for the most part, is what I'm really referring to. When children are not around, they're at school, etc., is that we got constant interruptions. And so it takes a tough discipline to really put up what I call healthy boundaries. Think of yourself almost in a bubble to where you close the door. Put a sign on it, recording in progress, webinar in progress, so people just don't come barging into your office or walk in. And some people I know, they're in cube land. I used to have that set up in corporate years ago where people could just walk in. There's no door to close. So you just got to think creatively then on, how you can bury yourself from those kind of, Monday morning quarterback conversations, if you will, that steal time. How many of you really can relate with, oh my God, before you know it, you looked up and it was 3:30 or 4:30 in the afternoon. You only got 1 or 2 things done. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's constant barrage of interruptions. And believe me, gang, I can be on my email 8 hours a day, but I choose to control it versus it control me. And so I check it twice a day. I do it in the morning, and then I'm going to come back and I'm probably going to reply to emails at the 4 o'clock hour, give or take, 4:30. I do it at the end of my day, put out the fires, communicate accordingly. And that's how I manage my time and get a lot of things done by 12 noon or especially 5 o'clock. I treat the morning half like the first half. Lunchtime's like halftime, and then the second half, if you will, from 1 or 2 o'clock till 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the evening is how I break out my day. And so it's a great way to do that. But then again, to have a timer and to have healthy boundaries is key. And then another tip I'll give is to leverage technology. Use all the tools that are available for you, whatever works for you. I know we're all different, but I've been using Google Calendar for a long time, Mac Calendar, and any other calendars that are on your phone or mobile device. Okay, leverage them. But the key is make appointments And I would also suggest to put alerts in there. I get friendly reminders depending on the action item. I do sometimes a 1-day reminder, and then I'll have a second alert with it where it's 15 minutes before the appointment. So you can wrap up whatever you're going to do, prepare, etc. So if you like 30-minute reminders or even 5 minutes, use them. Then the other thing I will suggest about, the great technology that's out there for everyone is something as simple as color coding. Myself, I run 2 businesses and I freelance and travel around speaking, coaching, and training. So that's 3 things plus family, friends, golf, workouts, all this stuff. And so, yes, color code. I color code one of my businesses with all the color green, my real estate business. Green means money. So, okay, that's simple. And then another color code would be for my consulting business, coaching appointments, one-on-ones, etc. And then accordingly, yellow for lunchtime or gray, whatever, block it out. You've got 7 or 8 different colors. And here's why. I can look at my week from Sunday to Saturday, and just based on color blocks, I know where I'm going to be spending a lot of my time, whether I'm in this business or this activity. And so those are a couple great ways to really get yourself set up for success and control your time versus being scrambling and scatter and forget. And always the next day has got 3 or 4 things that roll over from the day before because you didn't get to it because of so many different interruptions. And believe me, I've been in the, what do they call it? The hamster wheel, where you're constantly going around and trying to chase and catch up until you really, really, again, develop a habit of taking control of your time. And so some of the things that I've mentioned here in just the last 20 minutes have really helped me manage my schedule and take control of my time. And so, Stacia, I'll just pause for a second there to take a gulp of water if any questions or comments on what I've shared, because I've got a couple other ideas, but those were the main few that I want to make sure in just the short time we have today to mention. And of course, the bottom line is this: it takes action. And so as being an accountability partner or a peak performance coach, I am absolutely going to hold you to the fire, and you're going to email me your calendar, your activities. What do you do for those 20 or 30-minute time blocks? And again, if you really add them up for a 6 or 7 or 8 hour day, you can get a lot done than just a top 10 list and be a high-level producer. And so a lot of people scratch their head and they wonder, what can I be doing? What should I be doing? How come I'm not making more money? And we take a good look at what we just mentioned over the last 20, 30 minutes. There's a lot of aha moments that people have when they work with a coach or a professional that has really managed to balance a lot of quote-unquote things in life and business and do it well is the bottom line. So any questions or comments so far, Susan, from where you're sitting?
That's why it's so important. I actually do want to touch on that point. It's so important to have a coach to be able to look at a different view, because you may be stuck in it and be like, oh my gosh, I have to be doing everything. There's maybe some things in your schedule where you don't need to be doing. That could be either, delegated or maybe not doing it at all. So maybe you can touch on that too, because there are some things that you should probably stop doing that are not helping you move the needle.
Great point. And you're absolutely right. I actually go through an exercise, write down things you should stop doing and outsource. So, we read that book, years ago, The 4-Hour Work Week. And who doesn't love that idea or concept? I mean, that's what we call the laptop lifestyle nowadays, and, working that kind of hours, whether you're an online person or not. Hey, awesome. And that's what I even wanted to give, this audience, entrepreneurs and real estate investors, like, what's an example, what I should be doing? And we're a marketing company, working with refs, real estate funnel systems. We help, deliver motivated sellers to investors just like you and I. And here's an example. Monday, you're a social media professional, Stacia, and it's like, well, a lot of our clients should be on social media, whether they're advertising on Facebook or they got YouTube channels going, podcasts. Okay, awesome. I get it. So how do you get it all done in a day or two? Well, you don't. All right. First of all, yes, we all know about virtual assistants. I remember asking a high-level CEO, multi-million-dollar company, 10 years in, he said, what would you have done different 10 years ago? His answer was, I would have hired a personal assistant within the first 30 days. And I know some incomes might, vary or question that. But again, it's just to show the importance of offloading some of the, what I call $10, $20 an hour tasks. Because again, if you're charging or making $250 or $500 or plus, you should be working on the $500 per hour task that your skill sets that you've invested for. That's where your focus should be, not the $10 or $20 an hour task. So that's one thing to help offload. But here, a little quick snapshot on a marketing calendar idea. It's like this: take the pressure off your shoulders. We got 5 days a week in business, Monday through Friday, and some of us work Saturdays in real estate too. Okay, great. Here you go. Monday, take an hour out of that time and do Facebook. Okay. I know you're on Facebook 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day. We'll just allocate it then. Go ahead and schedule it from 10 a.m. to 11. You're on Facebook, and then check in later on it. Just like I set up my email later. Okay. And then on your personal level or your personal page, go ahead and enjoy it at 8 or 9 o'clock at night when the business world is quote unquote at home or after dinner type stuff. Okay. So that's Facebook Monday. Tuesday, Instagram. Do whatever you got to do on Instagram. I know they're, owned by Facebook. So you might do those two in like the morning, half Facebook, afternoon, Instagram. Okay, great. The next day, LinkedIn. The next day, Twitter. The next day, Craigslist ads, or, TikTok is blowing up right now, or YouTube. Do one a day, or one in the morning and one in the afternoon. Break it up instead of trying to think, I've got to do all these social media channels in one day or even 2 days. Just spread them out. And that way you can allocate a good amount of time, because I know it takes time to, write an ad, position it, target it, all that type of stuff, get it set up accordingly. And, work quality instead of just quantity is something that's important there. And so, yes, it takes a little time. And that's where I addressed even earlier, where some things will take more than 5 or 10 minutes or the 20 minutes that you're allocated. I get it. If you've got to write a serious proposal or even a grant or something like that, yeah, that can take an hour or two. Just time slot accordingly. But then with the urgency on the other stuff, make sure you stay on point with what I mentioned earlier. Have that timer going, and you'll see you're going to have a lot more freedom after that 90 days of like, wow, I can almost pick up a new hobby. I've got so much stuff done, or extra time. So it's pretty cool to see that, transformation, if you will, of time, to where people were always late or struggling or behind to the complete opposite after 90 days. Because again, you took the discipline and the focus to apply some new techniques. And again, key part, having some patience. Because like anything new, boy, it's a little tough the first 2 weeks. Let me tell you, I've heard all the complaints, believe me. So go ahead. Any other questions?
No, that's perfect. I always highly recommend batching. So I'm really big into video marketing. So batching your videos or having a special day like we're doing right now. This is the time that we go live. We have a few other team members here that will be going live here in the group and, on our YouTube channel that do YouTube tutorials. So we're batching our time, getting a few videos filmed, and then maybe we have another guy who edits the videos at a different time. But things are moving, and we have that in our schedule. And I want to, I know we only had just a few minutes, but I do wanted to point, and you made a really, really important point that I want to touch on this show as well too, is that right now is the time to if this is not something, if you don't want to do social media, if you don't want to do videos, if you don't want to, do pay-per-click and Google advertising or text message marketing and try to figure it all out, then why would it be important to increase your budget now on your marketing instead of decreasing? A lot of people are kind of closing up and worrying and like, oh no, but this really is a time to increase that budget. Yeah. Don't you think?
Yeah, well said, Stacia. And, at the beginning of the program, I planned on, talking a little bit about the interesting time we're in right now. COVID, obviously, we're in a worldwide pandemic. So time management's a little different. We're all been working from home, which is an adjustment, like I mentioned, over the first 30 days. I know it's 4 weeks plus now, but still, we've all had to adjust. And the first week, it was kind of almost like, concern and worry and a little bit of vacation vibe, it seemed like almost. And then it got real, like, oh, we got to really produce and, stimulus checks, whether they're coming or not. Okay, great. But I'm not going to rely on that the long term. And I still had to, quote unquote, go to work and flip my mindset for after that first week, where it was a little bit of part-time vacation mode. Hey, I'm human. I'm just like everybody else too. But I had to buckle down and pull up the bootstraps and, quote unquote, go to work from home like I've been doing for 5 years. So it wasn't actually longer, but it wasn't a huge adjustment. But seeing everybody else, you're right, Stacia, even with my corporate advertising and commercial printing and graphic arts background, I remember some major companies would go through a fallout or something like that and instantly cut marketing budgets. And that is complete opposite if you really, really understand business, that you do need to get the word out. So all these projects that you've had on your back burner because you were too busy, again, this is where you can make, you have what I call found time. When you get really disciplined, you find more time because you're very laser focused on 20-20-20, boom, break, 20-20-20, boom, break. Okay, lunch, boom, 20-20-20. And you get that rhythm going, man, you become very effective and productive on a lot of your stuff. And it's awesome to see. And your income starts to go up is the bottom line. And so, yes, keep advertising. And here's the thing, COVID, it's an interesting dynamic. Like, what do we do? How long? Well, here's the thing, gang. That's why I said system and structure, because I found I was going to bed later, waking up a little later. I had to say, stop, time out on that. I usually do the 11 to 7, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. is my 8 hours. That's my goal. Well, a little bit, sometimes I'll stay up a little later. Well, then I'm still getting up at 7:30, the latest. But if I can go to bed a little earlier, okay, great. I got to jump on the game as far as really getting prepared, my day set up for success. So hopefully that helps a little bit. It's easier said than done. I get it as far as discipline when you're working from home or stuck at home. And what do? Plan, and commit so you can really execute. And so I know we've heard some of these basic terms before, but the bottom line that really makes it all happen is action. And that's where I'm going to stick to it. You've got to take, and I don't just say action. I usually say massive action with some freaking urgency behind it if you're serious about making money or really building your business. And then I come back to the roots of why you're doing it to begin with. Because if you're really serious about your why, then this stuff should be easy to implement. And I'll say that for now.
I love it. I love it. I'll close that off with that. Definitely take massive action, because no matter what system you use, it's the one that actually you use. So go out and take massive action. And if you need anything, any support, any coaching, where can people find you?
Oh, you're so sweet, Stacia. Oh, man, that's so nice. Well, of course, my website's youareceo.com, youareceo.com. Or, if we put my email in there, okay, great. But I have a Calendly. Calendly's probably the other best one. So calendly.com, B-I-Z, call Jeff.
Awesome.
Call Jeff. Yeah, and we can put the links in there,
yes.
I'm sure.
It's in the description right now. So click on that and book a call with Jeff if you need some help and support. And again, if you need any help within the marketing realm, you can also go to callrefs.com and book a call with Eric B., the founder of Real Estate Funnel Systems, who will definitely help you and get started with your marketing so that you can get it moving. This is not the time to sleep, guys. This is the time to really push even more, because all the opportunities are out there and available for you. All right. Thanks for watching.
Yes, you run a business, go to work. Absolutely. And I'm happy. I'm so glad you said that, Stacia. In closing, I'll just say this. Yes, I've opened my calendar up when we extend it out to April 30th or even into May now. I've got discovery slots available in Calendly. I'd be happy to reconnect. I've seen a lot of familiar names, even if it's a catch-up call. Hey, book a time. I'd be happy to talk with you for 15, 20 minutes and that kind of time block. All right. Have a great rest of your day. And thanks so much for your time and attention.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.